Welcome to a Chart Nerd technical analysis video. Today we will be discussing the likes of VELO, of which we've had a pretty drastic week of price action. We've seen new local highs of 0.0388, and over the last couple of days we've in fact retraced down to 0.025. So a lot of volatility at the moment, a lot of uncertainty in the markets, not just in VELO itself. We've had some external factors that have also affected the markets over the last couple of days, i.e. Trump and his meme coin coming out, which I think has sucked a lot of the liquidity away from altcoins. Now, albeit considered, VELO has had quite a drastic drop. So today we're going to analyze why that might have happened, looking at the charts, including the sort of tie up with the external factors of the market and what I think could be coming next for VELO in the near short term. Now, nothing that I say is financial advice, guys. Let's dive into the content. So after that long introduction, let's get into some technical analysis. We are now back into our horizontal channel. So I've got this back on the charts for us. We did initially over the last couple of days have that break to 0.038, and on this retracement I did expect this previous key level of resistance at 0.033 to be flipped into support before continuation of the trend. Now again, this wasn't a move that I anticipated or expected for VELO. It's caught me very off guard, but nonetheless, I would like to sort of reaffirm that my concerns are limited in response to this correction and VELO sort of crashing to oblivion from here. I think right now all that's happened is we have this new local high, which is fantastic, but we have seen the drawdown back into our neutral horizontal pattern. So we need to monitor this horizontal channel, look at key levels of support, and today I'm sort of going to focus on why this dip has initially come in alongside with the external factors, i.e. of Trump's meme coin sucking out the liquidity. Again, not to use that as an excuse, but I do think it adds to this correction and why VELO has pulled back. Now, I want to focus primarily again on reinstating that the fact we've put in this new local high at 0.038, I think in the near future gives way to the fact that this is bullish structure. Okay, we've still got these lows and a higher high that took out this 0.035, which is what we needed. So really and truly, again, it just gives confluence that I'm not really too, albeit considered this is very volatile, I'm not in any sort of panic state here for VELO as we are back in a neutral pattern. Now there's a few key things that I wanted to look at. So key support, if we look at the macro and we go from our new local high at 0.0388 and we get a fib on back down to this 0.019 wick low from late December. So we'll get a fib on from this local high, retracing back down to this low. And what I wanted to focus on here is, yes, we have come back into our horizontal channel pattern over the last 2 days, but we've come back down to a key level of support. We've had a wick to the 0.618, which is the golden ratio, the sort of golden pocket zone. When you come from a high back down to a low, you want to sort of hold above the 0.618 and the 0.50. This is the sort of golden ratio, and I focus on this on many videos with the fibs. Either on a retracement, if you're coming from a dip trying to get back to a high, the 0.50 and the 0.618 is resistance. If you're coming from a high back down to a local low, the 0.50 and the 0.618 act as support. So right now VELO is holding support and currently actually sitting right on the 0.50 at 0.0279. So if we can get the closeout today above 0.028, I think it would be a relatively good sign here. We've seen the buying pressure come back in over the last few hours, but again, I don't want to try and put a finger on this bottom as of yet because we have no bottom structure on this sort of dip that we're actually going through right now. Again, the markets are very volatile. You've got Trump's inauguration coming out in 2 days time. Again, the likes of his meme coin, they're sucking out the liquidity. And again, there is another sort of signal that I missed, guys, that I really want to focus on today that could explain why this dip has come into fruition. So we'll tap onto that in a second, but right now we do have support on this golden pocket between 2.8 and 2.5, which is we just had the wick below the 0.618, and we also have the the daily 55 EMA that acts as support right now too. So the daily 55 currently sits at 0.027. We have the 0.618 at 2.5 and the 0.50 at 2.78. So we've got a lot of support in this area, I think, and you can see that we're sort of floating back in the mid-range. We're literally in the mid-range of the horizontal channel that we've been caught in, and you can see that this area has been a level of support and resistance many times before. So it was resistance here, it was support here, and again I could go on with this: resistance, it was support, and then it was again, we broke out here, resistance, support, and right now we're literally on it again as another level of support. So this is a very interesting range for VELO, and I think it's very important to hold above 0.028 and to see closes above that, and initially sort of hold this 0.618 as well. I think holding above this wick over the next couple of days, building a bottom structure here, and hopefully getting our neck back out of the woods. That is what I would like to see for VELO moving forward here. Now, if we do lose key support on this of this golden ratio, and we actually drop below this wick that we currently have, again, it's a potential, guys, just trying to give some targets here. Again, I don't want to try and pick the bottom, but my next initial level of support would be the 0.786 at 0.023, which really ties up with our key support that we've been holding throughout the whole of December leading into January. So I do think that the lows are around here somewhere, and as long as we are still inside this horizontal channel and we've got the new local high, I think we're okay, guys. I do think we're okay. If we start losing 0.022 and this wick especially to 0.019, we do need to sort of then reanalyze. And again, I think this wick fill in here is also a potential. I think filling this wick in could come into fruition, and that's something we'll analyze later in this video. But right now, what we want to see is closes above 0.028, above the 55 EMA, and look for continuation, build some bottom structure on the lower time frames, and get our neck out the woods. We analyze here, we analyze now, we take it as it comes. If we start seeing closes below the 0.618, guys, just look for the 0.786 at 0.023 and this key support zone that we've been holding for several weeks. Now, I wanted to go over to my X profile and look at this post that I put out earlier for VELO, and you'll notice that throughout this horizontal channel that we've been in, VELO has had several corrections of multiple sizes. So our first correction from the 0.032 high back in early December was a 32% correction. We then rallied up to our 0.035 high a week later, and from that point had a 43% correction, which is our 0.019 wick low right now. And then we had the rally back up again to 0.033. We had another 28% correction. You get the gist. These corrections inside this pattern that we've been in for multiple weeks are not uncommon, and albeit considered the last 2 days, we have seen a pretty faster drawdown. These corrections prior have taken about 3, 4, 5 days, some even a week to get to these local lows. In the last 2 days, we've actually got down to this low quite quickly and had a sort of 33. I think it's a little bit lower now. We actually went out to 25, so I think it might be a 36 to 37% correction so far with that wick low. But again, I just want to focus the fact this is where the external factors come into play, where the liquidity from the market's been sucked out from Trump's coin, his meme coin, and we've got the inauguration. There's a lot of volatility, and I think today that's just added to the fuel and towards this correction. But like I'm saying here, these corrections are not uncommon, and that's the most key thing to take away here. We are still above key support of 0.022, and these corrections have occurred many a times in the last 5 to 6 weeks. Now, there's also something else I wanted to focus on in regards to my X posts, and this is one I set out earlier, and I said that VELO hangs by a cliff on its daily 55 EMA support at 0.0269. Below it, we have the mid-regression band of the Gorian channel that will also act as a level of support, sitting at 0.02. The lower regression band is creeping up and is currently sitting at 0.018 monitoring. So on this image here, it sort of highlights the Gorian channel. And if we look at the Gorian channel, this upper regression band, you've got 3 levels. You've got the upper regression band, you've got the mid regression band, and you've got the lower regression band. VELO was above the upper regression band of the Gorian channel for a very long time. It had a retest back at 0.022 support throughout December. And then we had this climb up where we consolidated for about 2 weeks, got the tap on the upper regression band channel once more, and then broke out to put in this 3.8 high. Now again, over the last 2 days, we came back. I was initially looking for the upper regression band to hold a support along with these 0.032 highs, flip that previous resistance into support, but we lost the upper regression band. So initially, when we lose the upper regression band in an uptrend and you start coming back down into this channel, we then look for the mid band. So you go from the upper to the mid to the lower. We've lost the upper. The next level of support is the mid. The mid was sitting, this was, I think it was about 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago now, was sitting at 0.024. And again, in today's VELO price action, we've had the wick down to 0.025. So very close in regards to coming back to the mid band of the regression Gaussian channel, which the mid regression band of the Gaussian channel, which could act as also another level of support. So there's a lot of confluence here. You've got the 050 and the 0618, the golden pocket, the 55 EMA. You've got the likelihood of the correction being closer to being over than actually starting because of the recent corrections in the last 5 weeks. And we're also very close to touching the mid regression band of the Gaussian channel. So there's a lot of support in this area, a lot of support from where we are right now. And I think we do have a generally good outlook, albeit considered we've put in, sorry, not albeit considered, we have a generally good outlook because of this higher high. I think taking out this 0.035 high was extremely important, and we've done that. And all we've done now is come back into the channel that we was in prior. So it's annoying, it's frustrating. You've gone 2 steps forward, 4 steps back. I understand it gets very annoying, but this is how the market works. It's designed to shake people out. There's been events that have externally affected VELO's price. And also there's one key thing here that I missed, which I do apologize. I do apologize in advance, guys. Sorry, not in advance. I apologize from the past video for not actually highlighting it. But if I get these EMAs off very quickly, we're going to get the RSI on right now. And I, in fact, missed a big bearish divergence. So let me just get my settings right here. Yeah, I missed quite a large divergence. So we had in price, you'll notice in VELO's price action, we had higher highs here over time. Why is it doing that? Oh, I've got that on, haven't I? Silly me. Wait, get off. Right, okay, we're back to it. So we had these sort of higher highs over time, and in the RSI we had these lower highs. So what VELO actually put in over, is it still on? You're having a laugh. I thought I took it off. All right, I have to click it. I forgot. Okay, I'm sorry. We had the lower highs in the RSI and we had higher highs in price. So we actually had a relatively large bearish divergence play out. Again, lower highs in the indicator, higher highs in the price. And this is something that I missed. So this bearish divergence is now playing out, and what I wanted to point out is that from this bearish divergence, which could be giving a game away as to why this low might actually be in soon, from the bearish divergence we've actually come into a bullish one. Because if you look here, we've got this sort of higher level of ascending support where we've got these higher lows building up over time, and now in the RSI we had this horizontal level of support that's been lost. So we've got a lower low in the RSI compared to the previous lows, which were higher lows in price. So we've gone from it's quite tricky, guys, I'm sorry, we've gone from a bullish divergence, and we're now creating gone from a bearish divergence, forgive me, I do get ahead of myself, and we're now starting to create a bullish one. I talk very fast, I do apologize, but so much information trying to cover. Now this again could extend towards going down towards the oversold areas, and we could still see some pullbacks, and I think that would entail coming back to 0.022 if we do see further drawbacks in the RSI. But the longer we stay underneath these previous lows and build up under here but hold 0.022 support, the larger this potential bullish divergence could be. So again, it doesn't necessarily mean the bottom is in right this second, but it's a good sign that we're putting in these lower lows in the RSI but higher lows in the price from a previous bearish divergence where we did tap in this new local high. So I missed the bearish divergence, guys. Again, it was something I wasn't really paying attention to on the RSI, but it explains why VELO has seen such a drastic drawdown over the past couple of days, tied up with the fact that, again, Donald Trump has released his meme coin, which is sucking liquidity from the market. Potentially a lot of VELO holders might be migrating to try and catch the profits and run for the profits. Who knows? But again, I think we're just back into this neutral pattern. We've got the new local high, which is fantastic for long sort of macro PA. And if we zoom out to the weekly, there's something very interesting that I wanted to look at here as well. We're going to get the RSI off for a second. We could even create a weekly bullish divergence on the RSI right now. But if we analyze from we had this 7-month triangle, didn't we? I'm just gonna get this on roughly for now. We had the 7-month triangle that was sort of we was coiling up in for a very long time, and we initially got the breakout. Whilst in that triangle, we formed our weekly golden cross, the first bullish weekly golden cross for VELO. Now, since breaking out of this resistance and since forming this bullish cross and reclaiming the weekly 20 and 55 EMAs, we actually haven't had a backtest to it for support. So it's quite And with this weekly candle, this does look like a bearish candle that could come into fruition depending on tomorrow's close. It could be giving the game away that VELO might just be coming in for some sort of flat ABC correction back down to its 20 EMA as this creeps up. So we can imagine over time, as this EMA starts to curl over, potentially the VELO price could come down to it before then getting the breakout. And this could be on the macro here, a potential A, B, C correction before continuation to higher targets. And I think this could give the game away to the fact that this was a 1, this is a 2, we're in a potential 3, and I think this is just an ABC correction in the macro 3 wave on the way up to our 10 cents, our macro 10 cents. Again, I'll get into that a little bit deeper with Elliott wave in another video, but I think really and truly, potentially you've got the A wave, we've got these candle close highs of last week and this week, which are lower than the previous highs. So we do have lower highs, which does indicate some sort of depleting buying pressure, albeit considered this week closes below the previous weekly candle close. So if we fail to close above 3-1 this week, I think it does indicate that we've got the lower highs, depleting buying pressure, and we're looking for an ABC correction. Now, where does that weekly 20 EMA sit? Well, that weekly 20 EMA that I just made disappear currently sits at 0.021. Now, if we go back to our support line here for the 0.022 horizontal channel, and we've got our 0.033 resistance on the daily, this would be a lot more clear. But potentially, again, I don't think we actually lose support of this horizontal channel, and we're just in a flat ABC as this 20-week EMA creeps up towards the end of January potentially, and then looking for the initial breakout for VELO after that, having the retest back down to the 20 EMA, which we haven't had since the breakout in mid-November, have the ABC correction within the horizontal channel, guys. This doesn't lose support. This is what I mean. Until we lose 0.022, I can't be bearish because we're in this neutral pattern. Yes, it's been very, very choppy and hard to navigate, and we've had the breakout, which has now looked as a fake out, and we've deviated and come back in, but this pattern is still neutral. And zooming out to the weekly, it becomes even more clear when you've had the A wave, you've had the B wave over the last 3 to 4 weeks, which did take out the prior high. But if we get lower candle closes, it just indicates depleting buying pressure, which means over the next week or two, we potentially could come back down to this weekly 20 EMA before getting the break out of the woods. So I think that's, again, a key target moving forward if we fail to hold this daily 55 EMA and the 0.025 support, which I'll get back on right now. So from this local high that we've tapped as of the last couple of days, going back down to that 0.019, you can see that we are just sort of hovering around the golden ratio. So my overall outlook is if we can hold 0.025 and 28 over the next couple of days and build a base here, this might be the local low in before continuing. But failing that, if we do come any lower, you've got the 0786 at 0.023, and then you've got this wick low at 0.019, which does tie up very close, again, to this 20-week EMA. Now, this 20-week EMA is actually creeping up. Quite quick, and this could tie in with 0.023 on the 786, so do keep your eyes on that. But my overall outlook is, guys, I'm not trying to pick the bottom today. I think there's a lot of volatility, and again, coming up to Trump's inauguration, there's a lot that's actually going on. So today's outlook is just really key support targets moving forward, and again, they are right now the wick low that we've actually put in today. We need to hold that. Failing to hold that, I think it gives more confidence that on the macro here, we do have that sort of potential ABC correction over the next couple of weeks that could bring us down to the weekly 20 EMA before getting that sort of relief and looking for the next higher targets for VELO. Now, before I go, there is one thing that I wanted to highlight on today. Now, this is a Binance withdrawals wallet that I follow very closely on X and update very frequently. As you can see, it's the Binance withdrawals here, and this is a wallet that accumulates VELO. Now, as of the last year, in fact, since January of 2024, this accumulation in this wallet has been vertical of VELO tokens. Now, I wanted to focus specifically on the sort of vertical impulse from today, and why I think this dip is very important in correlation with this chart, because what this is telling us is that smart money's buying, and these wallets or potential exchanges and Binance withdrawal wallet is accumulating VELO here at very rapid rates whilst the price is depreciating. So as we're coming down in this dip, the amount of tokens being accumulated in this wallet is increasing. Now, as of today, you can see that this morning we was actually at 369 million VELO tokens, around 369 million. And as of today, that has increased by near 20 million VELO tokens. So a lot of VELO has actually been scooped up by this wallet. Smart money overall is buying whilst VELO is taking this relatively harsh dip. And I think this is just something to look at as a reflection as why dips provide the opportunity and tops provide, again, opportunity to make money. But really and truly, you want to be buying big red candles. You don't want to buy the big green ones. If you go to the chart and we look at the daily here, for instance, if you'd have bought all these green candles and bought at the peak, you'd have absolutely got battered and it would have been very tough for your mental state. If you'd have bought at the bottom down here, you'd have had a nice ride up. Again, it was very frustrating. And again, this has been a range. So this is probably a very bad example, but we've been stuck in the horizontal range. But my idea is you want to buy the lows. You know, you want to buy down here at the support levels. You don't want to buy at resistance because it gets very, very choppy. And this would have looked like the clearance out of this resistance. But again, we just have to update as the market goes along, guys. It wasn't something I expected, but we have to deal with it. It's what it is. VELO hasn't lost key structure. We still are in this sort of sideways choppiness structure looking for a decision to come. So I hope you've enjoyed today's content, guys. From Chart Nerd TA, take care. Peace out.